Deathspell Omega, the Furnaces of Palingenesia. Deathspell Omega is a French black metal band formed in the late 90s, notable for their signature blend of Eastern Orthodox themes and Gregorian music-influenced black metal, which is in turn played in an avant-garde and technical fashion. They're widely regarded in the French scene as well as in international black metal scenes for a trio of albums showcasing that sound, with C Monumentum being the closest to black metal, Foss being their most harsh and chaotic, and Paracletus achieving a perfect blend of both, taking down the edge of Foss while adding some more catchiness and polishing the formula further. Their last full-length album, Synarchy of Molten Bones, was an album that I was less than excited about. It parted a lot from the best aspects of the trilogy, and while it did sound distinctly Deathspell Omega, to me, I was just listening to an album that was a band on the brink of running out of ideas, it seemed. Now, me looking back at that critique in the retrospective, that wasn't necessarily too fair. Because the trilogy is just that. It's a trilogy, where all of the albums shared a similar sound, and once that trilogy ended, the band could have gone anywhere. And Synarchy could be the start of a new one with a different focus. Deathspell Omega is always experimenting, and their mysterious nature allows them to pretty much do whatever the hell they want, like I said before. I mean, within reason, of course. So let's say Synarchy was the start of a new trilogy, or at least a new direction for the band to follow and polish upon. Then what does the Furnaces of Palingenesia have to offer us? Not long before this album dropped, there was a single release titled Ad Arma, Ad Arma. I was a bit worried about this one, since then I was under the impression that Deathspell Omega was running out of ideas, and I expected something similar to Synarchy, where there would be the usual complex instrumentation and a kind of spoken word delivery of the verses. And on that, I wasn't disappointed. However, that single really didn't do it for me. And my expectations for this album were lowered quite a bit as a result. There's nothing truly bad about the song. It just sounded painfully mediocre, and if that sole single was any indication, then I thought I would have had to sit through one of Deathspell's weakest albums. I didn't say worst. Don't mistake that, I did not say worst. So the album releases, with no more singles in between. What do I think of it? Basically, this album continues the sound that Synarchy of Molten Bones was showing off, except polished. Very polished. Like, if Synarchy had real energy behind it and real inspiration, it would be Furnaces. Now, I'm not definitively saying that Synarchy had no inspiration or energy. Don't take what I say as fact. I'm just implying that that's what I heard in the album, was just a lack of drive, a lack of motivation. And that's why I didn't really like Synarchy the way that other people like Synarchy. I wouldn't say that the Furnaces of Palingenesia is my new favorite of theirs, but it does rank above C Monumentum in terms of just how great it sounds. The production is well done, albeit some parts where the vocals are drowned out by the other instruments, but those moments are on a small enough scale to just let slide. Because once again, I really can't name individual songs on this project to specifically mention, due to the fact that this is best enjoyed as a full album, like all Deathspell Omegas should be. But I can tell you, if you still haven't heard it, that after an explosive introduction, there is close to non-stop action afterwards, with the mellowed out portions of songs with narration over them seamlessly intertwined with the roaring, blast beat-filled verses. To a Deathspell fan, there isn't much else I can say, unfortunately, which makes my review really short. A lot of the material here is familiar territory if you've heard Foss or Synarchy, and if any of you haven't heard those albums and want to figure out what I mean by that, I released a Deathspell Omega retrospective review just a month ago. I filmed it many months prior, but I just released it a month ago. It has me reviewing and discussing the contents of every full-length album of theirs. If you don't want to check it out, that's alright, you can listen to those albums yourself. I won't judge you for it. Anyways, the basic point I want to make is that Deathspell Omega has once again blown away my expectations, even if they did drop them a bit further with Ad Arma, which in comparison to the rest of this album, is still easily the weakest song in my opinion. It is a great album, one that I'll be replaying quite a bit throughout the year. And it shows that this band has still got the energy, they've still got the drive to keep developing their experiments and creative ventures. And if this is indeed just the start of a new trilogy of albums, all with a similar style, then I cannot wait for their next release to hear what it brings. I rate this, and hopefully I can get a familiar face back onto the channel to review some trap metal. Salut!